Happy New Year! I know you're watching this video in October or November, and I'm telling you Happy New Year. Why? You're about to find out. Welcome to my channel! My name is Laji Uren, and here I talk about love, life, and faith. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, you're actually sleeping on a bicycle, actually on a rocket. So please subscribe to the channel and click the bell beside the subscribe button so you can know when I have new videos coming up. So today I'm talking about how to still achieve your New Year resolutions even though it's just 2 months to the end of the year. And the number of you who are watching this who probably have given up on your New Year resolutions don't even remember them because you're like, well, January I was excited, February I was excited, but by March life kind of caught up with me and I couldn't keep my New Year resolutions anymore. I just forgot them. I couldn't lose the weight. I couldn't get into the relationship. I couldn't end that relationship. I couldn't make my first million, or just things that you really wanted to do, but after a while you realize, maybe I won't be able to do that this new year. And so it seems like the ginger has dwindled. If that's you, this video is for you. I have a blog post on my blog lajiuren.com with a similar title, and I told some of you that there was one final secret ingredient to actually achieving your New Year resolutions before the year runs out that I'm going to share in this video. But before I share that, I want to talk about all the other things I talked about in the blog post just to get you guys to hang out with me for a while and then to give you some extra ginger. Can I let you know something first of all? That all those things you had in mind to do are still important now. If it's getting to the right weight, it's still important now. It may not be a new year for a lot of people, but it's still as important as it was at the beginning of the year. If it was trying to study your Bible better, trying to pray better, maybe improving your relationships, improving your speaking or your writing skills, if there was a book you really wanted to get out in the new year, all those things are still important now. There are still people that need to read that book, that need to be inspired by you. You still need to grow spiritually. Do you understand? So you still need to lose that weight that you're planning to lose, and your desire for a relationship is still good and it's still healthy. So don't give up, first of all, because it's no longer a new year. Can I tell you something? Can I tell you something very important? Happy New Year. Happy New Year, because you decide when your year starts. There is nothing about the new year that makes a kind of newness to fall on you and makes everything new. After the new year, many of you are still going to go back to the same old apartments, to the same old job, to the same old weights. You still look the same, you're still the same. So you can determine when your new year starts. Anyway, that's another point I'm going to share towards the end. But let me share some other things with you guys that I shared in the blog post. I talked about the fact that it's important that you respect your process. I know you want the tips. You want to know how to make sure that these next 2 months are the most effective months of the year. I'm coming. But can I tell you something? Sometimes the goal is not the goal, but what you achieve in the process of the goal. The goal isn't always the goal, but what you achieve in the process of the goal. I don't want you to just say, word. I want you to really understand what this means. Let me give you a personal example. So now I'm a full-time author and speaker, but for 5 years I worked as a journalist. And when I became a journalist, after my first 2 years, I began to enter every new year with this desire and this resolution to win a journalism award. And so I have in mind the kind of stories I had written in the past year that I could send to the different awards. I would research awards, I would send stories, and the awards would pass and I won't win anything. And for 2-3 years, my focus was on winning a journalism award this year. And I'm a very good writer. I'm not so crazy about journalism and the news of it, but I'm a good writer. If you read my blog posts, if you read any of my books, I'm a good writer. But I never won any journalism award. And it kind of got to me at first because I would read the stories that won. They were good stories, but mine was also good. Why didn't it win? But you know what that did for me? It pushed me to be a better writer. And it pushed me to create better opportunities for myself where I could tell the stories I really wanted to tell. And I really want to tell faith stories. I really want to tell stories like the one I'm sharing now about how what's most important is figuring out what God will have you do. Those kinds of stories don't really have a category when it comes to journalism awards. So what that did for me, even though my goal was to win the award, I didn't win. But what it did for me is it pushed me to improve my writing, and it pushed me to create platforms such as my blog, such as the books I've written, to tell the stories that I was really passionate about telling. Are you understanding what I'm saying? That's so important, because some of you are like, oh, I didn't do this year, and I didn't do this year. But is it possible that you built muscles for so many other things that were much more important? By improving my writing, I was now able to tell more stories, publish more books, tell stories better. I was able to begin to write books, do you understand, after I left journalism, that would bless more lives, and win the best-selling award in those categories, even though I didn't win that as a journalist. So many times, it's not really always about the end game, it's about the journey. And I want you to look at this year, from January, maybe you're watching this in November or end of October. What are the things you've learned this year? And are there things that have helped you build muscle for the journey ahead? So I told you guys about an animated movie that I watched called Ballerina. And it's a really long story, but the important thing was the major character wanted somebody to teach her how to dance the ballet. Is it ballet or ballet? Ballet. She wanted somebody to teach her how to dance it. And every day the woman will say, jump up and touch that, and when you come down, make sure your feet, when your feet touches the water, make sure the water isn't disturbed. Make sure you land correctly. They were not dancing. She was just jumping up to touch one thing on the tree, then making sure that she jumps down without splashing water. And she did this for hundreds of times, day after day after day. And she was like, when are you going to start dancing? I want the music. I want to dress up. I want to learn all the routines and the techniques. And then I just said, don't worry, just keep jumping. Some of you have seen this, a similar thing too, in what's this fighting movie? Karate Kid. Where every time the boy would come from training, the guy would say, pick up the jacket, pick up the jacket, pick up the jacket. He was building muscle. And so what this ballet teacher was doing was teaching her how to land gracefully without splashing anything. Teaching her how to land gracefully, because it's a very, very important lesson if you want to be a ballerina. And so for a lot of you are wondering, you're looking at all the things that you've not achieved, not realizing that there are so many things you've learned, there are so many areas you've grown, there are so many relationships that you may have built that are preparing you for something bigger than your goal. So I want you to learn to respect the process. In my book Mirror Mirror, I talk about discerning the times and seasons of your life. And I talked about the Chinese bamboo. How for the first 5 years after the Chinese bamboo is planted, it does not spring out from the ground. It's just there, planted. Just there, planted. And for some of you, this year was a planting season for you. All the goals, you are still in the trenches, growing into them. So it's just, for the first 5 years, it's just there planted. And in the 5th year, in about 5 weeks, it grows to 90 feet. Now, another tree might look at the Chinese bamboo and say, see what happens to you in 5 weeks. But they were not there to see what happened in the 5 years, that nobody could observe what was going on. And so for some of you, this year has been such a season. So it's important that you learn to discern the times and seasons of your life. And I'm not saying that your new resolutions are not important. I'm just saying that you must understand what God will have you do per time. You see, that time as a journalist, I learned a lot. I already knew how to write before I became a journalist, but I never used to finish stuff. I would start an article, I won't finish, except I had a deadline. I'll start writing a book, I won't finish it, except I had a deadline. But when I became a journalist, I learned to finish on time, because if the paper is going tomorrow and your article is supposed to be in the paper, you have a deadline. And so that culture helped me. By the time I resigned from my job as a journalist and I wanted to write my biggest book, Self Survival Girls, I finished it in 3.5 weeks. Now, someone might look at the process and say, oh wow, just 3.5 weeks for a book. But they don't understand that the 5 years I spent training as a journalist, never winning any awards, was what was preparing me for those 3.5 weeks, and for a book that would then become a bestseller. So respect the process. Now on to the tips. Next I'm going to tell you is to divide and conquer. Divide and conquer. So for some of you, you're like, I wanted to publish a book this year, but this year has already gone, so next year. How about you say, okay, let me start a book this year. In the month of October, I may not be able to finish, or the month of November, I may not be able to finish writing a book, but I can get the summary for the book. I can take one of Lajo's writing and self-publishing courses, for example, and learn how to write a book easily, improve my writing skills. I can begin to do research for a book. I can write 3 chapters in this month and 3 chapters in the next month. When you divide and conquer, it becomes easier for you to achieve your goals. I was listening to the chairman of First Bank, Mrs. Bukola Woshika, speak a few weeks ago. She was talking about how her father told her that if you want to build, don't worry about the whole entire building. Just buy the land. When you buy the land, just look at it and say, oh wow, I've bought the land, meaning that building will not be difficult for me. When you buy the land, don't even worry about the building, just worry about the foundation. When you buy the foundation, just worry about, oh, all the sand I'm going to use to fill this place. Then you worry about casting it. Then you worry about plastering it. Then you worry about roofing it. And when you're done, you have a building, but it's not painted, and you're like, okay, well, I'll just save up and paint. And she was talking about how that was how she built her very first building that now turned out to be one of the first building actually on the Lekki-Epe Expressway. Start where you are with what you have, and take it one step at a time. So what if you can't publish this year? That's fine, but you can start writing this year. What if you can't lose your 20 or 25 kg this year? You can join a weight loss class this year. You can lose 5 kg this year. Divide and conquer. And when you are dividing to conquer, I've learned that it's always best to pick goals and tasks that are up to you. So going into a relationship might not be up to you alone. It will also be up to the other person. But what is up to you? You can say, okay, I'm going to put myself out there more. I'm going to study about relationships. I'm going to go out with friends more to places where I know I can find someone responsible. I'm going to invest in conversations, in discussions. I'm going to work on my appearance. In fact, on this channel, you will see a video, that's why you're still single. You should watch it if you want to go into a relationship. So what are the things that you can do now? They are not dependent on any other external person, just you. Divide and conquer. Divide and conquer. And then another thing I'll just tell you guys is always learn to ginger yourself. Ginger yourself. The Bible talks about David that he encouraged himself in the Lord. So many times you are looking for external encouragement, wondering, this person knows I'm down and the person did not reply my DM, this friend did not call me to check on me. Encourage yourself. It's your life. Encourage yourself. You have the Holy Ghost on your inside encouraging you, walking you to will and to do of God's good pleasure. Take control and let him lead you. Let him lead you. So you stir yourself up in the spirit, but with the word of God, with praying in tongues. You stir yourself up in your mind by talking to yourself. You stir yourself up in your body by getting up. And the final point, if you're from my blog, I told you I was going to share one last point in this video that is not in the blog post. Start now. Start your new year now. Nobody is going to come and arrest you for working on your new year resolutions now. I've said it clearly before, but I'm saying it now. It's when you wake up that's your morning. So you're like, oh, I really want to do this meeting next year. How about you start making plans for it now? For example, I think it was 2 years ago I published my book Dating Intelligently. I knew I wanted to get the book published in February, but I knew if I started writing that book in February, in January, when it was a new year, you know, it was one of my new year resolutions, I wasn't going to finish in time. And so I started in November. Start now. See, start your own ginger now. You can say, okay, from November 1st or November 2nd, my new year is going to start. And so that natural ginger that comes from the new year, you can now add it to continue and to finish. See, what's going to be different in the new year, for Christ's sake? What's going to be different? What supernatural power do you think is going to come upon you to make everything new? Nothing really. Of course, I attend end of the year meetings. We have one coming, Reboot Camp. If you attend Celebration Church, even if you don't attend Celebration, if you're in Abuja or you're in Lagos, you need to attend the Reboot Camp. Life changing. And so for me, my new year starts after the Reboot Camp. When I spend time praying, when hands are laid on me, my new year has begun. Start your new year now. So be like, oh, next year I really want to do this, and next year start making plans now, start making commitments now, and just start the process now, so that way your new year is not even just 12 months, it's now actually 14 months. And that's how you achieve your new year resolutions, even now, even though it's already November. Can I tell you something? Purpose is more about being than doing. And I've already told you, I've learned to be a doer. I used to be a procrastinator. If you watch, I have a video, how I smash procrastination in the face and never look back. You should watch it. It's an amazing video. But there are times of your life where God is preparing you for something, and it's very easy to despise those moments because you can't see much results. Just know what God will have you do now, and the things you really want to do, start them now. Start the process now. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and let me know in the comment section what you think about this video and what other videos you'd like me to do. I've also put in the description where you can get my book Mirror Mirror, where I talk about knowing yourself and I talk about times and seasons. You should get that. Alright, gotta go now. Love you all. Bye.